Welcome to the deep dive.
This is where we take a whole stack of sources, unpack them, and pull out, the really interesting stuff, the key facts, maybe a few surprises along the way. And today we've got a fantastic one. We're diving deep into this incredible story thing. A real mixed bag of adventurers, some ancient mystery brewing, and this quest for a really powerful artifact. Could be dangerous even. The sources we're working with today are just gold. We've got these detailed character intros. They really lay out who these people are, what makes them tick, their secrets. And then there's this expedition log, which tracks their very first steps into this unknown and pretty treacherous territory. Feels like getting a backstage pass, doesn't it? Seeing what drives them before the big stuff happens.
Absolutely. And that's exactly our mission for this deep dive, right?
Yeah.
We want to really pick apart the individual reasons why these very different characters end up on the same incredibly risky quest where we're digging into those undercurrents. The motivations, sometimes they clash, sometimes they align in weird ways that really push them forward in this initial adventure. The hunt for the mirror of dimensions. Because getting into their backstories, their personal histories, their baggage, it adds so much depth. It's not just about who they are, but why they make the choices they do, especially when things get dangerous. It makes the whole story richer.
Okay, perfectly put. So let's unpack this. Let's meet these really unique, sometimes contradictory folks who make up this, pretty unlikely team. It's always kind of amazing how one goal, one quest can pull together people who seem like they have absolutely zero in common. And our sources are crystal clear on this. They're all after the mirror dimensions, technically, but every single one of them is carrying their own past, their own secrets, their own very personal reason for being there. It's not just about the prize at the end, is it? It's really about their journey, how their individual stories crash into each other right here, right now.
Exactly. And that's where the real meat of the story is. Understanding those individual backstories, it lets us see the hidden currents, the things driving their decisions, how they interact as a group, especially when the pressure's on, when they're facing real danger. Their histories aren't just flavor text, they're the engine. They explain the choices they make, sometimes choices that even surprise themselves. Okay, so let's start with Bronwyn. She's a wood elf ranger. Now, the sources say she's the last of her band. And this term band, it's clarified for us, it means a group of interconnected elven families, like a whole community wiped out. Being in the last one, that's an immense weight to carry. Just imagine.
Yeah, that's huge. Not just losing family, but your entire society, your belonging.
And it gets deeper. She's also considered one of the unheard by other elves in the Gilden Woods. That suggests, maybe ostracization. Or that her people were so isolated their ways were just lost. No one's left to speak for them. So her whole life, it seems, is this relentless search for truth. And she has this absolute conviction, this core belief. Dragonborn. She believes Dragonborn destroyed her people. It's not just a theory, it's a deep, burning, personal vendetta.
Wow. Last of her kind and unheard.
That sounds like a constant fight just to exist, to get closure, to give a voice to the silenced. So how does this vendetta, this laser focus on the Dragonborn, actually affect how she deals with the rest of the group? Does it make her reckless? Or maybe the opposite?
Well, the sources point out she needs a significant supply of cash for her search. It spans continents, apparently. It's exhaustive.
Okay, so the money's the key. Right. Joining MUOA, this Museum of Unnatural Objects and Artifacts, it's purely transactional for her. It's a means to an end. She needs the funds to keep hunting. She's not really there for the mirror itself or for glory. It's about resources for her personal quest.
Which could make her tricky. Like maybe she'd prioritize her own goal over the group's safety if it came down to it.
That's the big question, isn't it? Her pragmatism, that kind of cold focus, it probably makes her very efficient, very direct, maybe less caught up in the group's drama, unless it blocks her path, She'll likely take calculated risks, yes, but always driven by that need for answers, for justice for her people. It suggests resilience, definitely, but maybe also a detachment that could be unsettling for the others.
Okay. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about Prickdagger, a wandering wood elf bard. And the sources call him a scoundrel, which is just delightful. Paints a picture, right? Restless, always looking for the next big score, opportunistic. And get this, he used to be the frontman for a band called the Strolling Tones. Their tagline was, and I quote, "Wanderers of the wilds, rockers of the realm, led by the ever-pointy Prickdagger."
Ah, ever pointy. That tells you a lot about his ego, doesn't it? Suggests a past life of maybe some fame, some stability, now gone.
But here's the twist. It's almost funny if it weren't so sad for him.
Yeah, the contrast is stark. This flamboyant frontman image versus, the reality. The sources say he racked up huge gambling debts, and not just bad luck. It's because he was, quote, wildly unsuccessful at keeping his true feelings hidden. His gambling tells were apparently super obvious.
Oh, wow. So terrible poker face. That's kind of endearing in a way, a crack in the armor.
Definitely. It suggests maybe a lack of self-control or just thinking he's smoother than he is. And the kicker, he had to be smuggled out of his home country of Ofen by his troop. But this introduces something else, loyalty. He vowed to do anything for them and wants to repay that debt. It's this flicker of obligation in an otherwise self-serving character. His friends saved him, and that seems to mean something deep down.
So the debts, the need for a quick dollar, those are his main givers on this expedition, clearly. He's also described as a great storyteller and a lover of a good insult. Classic Bard stuff. Keeps people entertained, maybe keeps them at arm's length too. But how does that persona, the loud insult comic type, square with the anxiety of being on the run, owing his friends big time? Is the bravado just a cover?
Oh, absolutely. It feels like a coping mechanism, doesn't it? Projecting this image of confidence, maybe to hide the fact he's constantly looking over his shoulder. That need for fast cash means he's probably going to be very motivated by immediate rewards. Might not think long term. Could be impulsive.
A wild card then. His personal mess is definitely going to affect how he plays his hand in this adventure.
Definitely. He could make decisions that seem questionable, maybe, if there's a squirt involved. Could be good, could be bad for the group. Very unpredictable.
Okay, next up, Varela Moondirge, or Vera, a tiefling bard, and her backstory. It's rough, really rough. Abandoned by her devil father and her exiled mother. Left in a fairy circle in the Gildan Woods. Just left.
Heartbreaking, isn't it? Eventually, she gets adopted by someone who teaches her about the woods, but realizes, academic study was not for her. Instead, she leans into her natural talents. Making up stories, singing silly songs, and doing tricks. It's how she connects, how she finds her place.
But that origin, being an infernal child, unwanted by both parents, that's got to leave deep scars.
Absolutely. It creates this profound identity struggle. And those talents, you mentioned the stories, the songs, the tricks, they're more than just talents. They're coping mechanisms. They're how she tries to be seen, accepted. And this detail about Pudge Plodhammer, it's just tragic. He's completely smitten, tries to confess his love with a lock of hair, a letter. She misplaced the letter and has a lock of hair, but has no idea who it belongs to. And it's not just carelessness. The source says it's due to poor as well as repressed memory due to the pain of knowing she was unwanted.
Oh, man. That's incredibly sad. The memory loss isn't a quirk. It's a symptom of deep trauma. It explains why she seems flighty, why she jumps at new opportunities, like traveling with Prick. Even with Pudge right there being so devoted, she's searching for something.
Belonging, validation, maybe, and that history of abandonment. It must make trust incredibly difficult for her, especially with someone like Prick, who's also a bit of a wanderer.
Does she trust him? Or anyone, really?
Yeah.
Or is she always waiting for the other shoe to drop?
It's complex. She clearly craves connection. You see it in her performance. But deep down, that fear of abandonment is likely always there. It might manifest as emotional distance, even with the memory repression. She might form surface bonds easily through her charm, but true intimacy. That's probably incredibly challenging for her. Traveling, performing, it's a constant search for the acceptance she never got. Makes her vulnerable, perhaps, to charisma, but also deeply wary of genuine attachment, a real paradox.
Right. Okay, let's move to Pudge Plodhammer. Mountain Dwarf Paladin, noble background, Scabarim Mountains, but importantly, never one to lord over others. Seems like a fundamentally decent guy.
Yeah, his nobility and paladin status point to a strong moral core, a sense of duty. But he combines that with this real humility and this deep vulnerability. He gets completely smitten by Vera after seeing her perform. His devotion is just total, even though she doesn't return his feeling.
He keeps seeking her out, tries the letter and the lock of hair, which she forgets about.
Ouch. Brutal. But even with that constant rejection, he remains committed to her safety in every way. He insists on joining her and Prick on this journey, even though he clearly disapproves of Prick. Her safety comes first.
That unrequited love is definitely central. It drives him, that protective instinct. But then there's that other layer, the mystery. The sources mention whispers back home that Pudge may bear a tragic secret. Something that could apparently ruin his family's noble status.
Yes. This tragic secret just adds this whole dimension of inner conflict beneath this steadfast paladin exterior. What could it be? And how does it affect him?
Could it make him more extreme? Take bigger risks? Maybe even bend his paladin code to protect Vera or to keep his secret buried?
It's a fascinating possibility. Is his devotion to Vera maybe a form of penance? Or a distraction from whatever this secret is? It might mean he's more self-sacrificing than you'd expect, driven by a need for redemption, or just terrified of being exposed. That secret could absolutely influence his decisions at critical moments, especially when Vera's involved.
Okay, intriguing. Now, Dawn DeWitt How Fast, Lightfoot Halfling, street urchin from High and Low Butte, orphaned young, got by through stealing or performing odd jobs, always has his pet mouse with him, paints a picture of resilience, independence, had to grow up fast.
Definitely. That upbringing, no parents, it forged his resourcefulness, sure, but likely left him craving connection too. The sources say he is incredibly inquisitive, asks tons of questions, typical street kid survival skill learned by watching everything, and, touchingly, he gets rather attached to folks who give him the time of day. Speaks volumes about his lack of stable relationships, doesn't it?
Yeah, and his street smarts are obvious right away. He gets caught trying to pick Prick's pocket.
Right. But instead of freaking out, he thinks fast, offers to guide Prick to a secret gambling den to make up for it, turns a bad situation into an opportunity. And this leads to an unlikely but natural friendship between the bard and the urchin. A bond formed over shared, slightly shady dealings.
But then, there's that other side, the incredibly dark side. It's chilling. Apparently, if someone crosses him, he's admitted he's more than willing to kill someone in their sleep to avoid a fair fight he may not win.
Whoa, yeah, that's stark. A massive contrast to the curious, friendly kid. What triggers that? And how scary could that be in a dangerous situation? If he feels betrayed, maybe.
It suggests a survival instinct honed to a razor's edge, doesn't it? Pragmatic, maybe even amoral when pushed, ready to do whatever it takes.
Absolutely, that ruthlessness. It's hidden, mostly, but it's there. Could be an asset in a fight, maybe, or just terrifying. He's loyal, it seems, but with this really sharp, dangerous edge, you wouldn't want to cross him.
Definitely not. Okay, shifting tone completely now. Professor Slaterbug III, halfling wizard, professor of magical theory at Pearl Tower, spent his entire life in academia
Until his dean decided all instructors needed real-world experience. So Slaterbug gets forced, keyword there, forced onto this MUNOA expedition.
Oh, the poor guy. You can just picture him. Completely out of his element.
Totally. Academia is his safe space. This field trip is a massive disruption. And the journey to the job, incredibly unpleasant for him. Had to carry his own stuff, walk miles. He meets Hildy along the way and apparently complains incessantly about how unfair everything is.
Yeah, it highlights his sheltered life, his total lack of practical skills. He's the ultimate fish out of water.
And he's making sure everyone knows how miserable he is. It's almost funny.
Almost. It does add some relatable humor. The grumpy academic forced outdoors. But seriously, how does his purely theoretical knowledge help when he can barely cope with walking? Is the complaining just going to drag everyone down? Or will it, I don't know, accidentally be useful somehow?
That's the question, right? The utility of academic knowledge versus practical skill. His theories on magic might be vital for the mirror, but his complaining and lack of experience could be a real liability. It's ripe for character development, though. Maybe the harsh realities will force him to adapt, or at least appreciate his comfy office chair more when he gets back. If he gets back.
Let's hope. Finally, Sister Hildegard, or Hild. High elf sister from a convent, described as an excellent nun, almost too excellent, which immediately makes you think rigid, intense.
Yeah, exactly. It causes friction. Other sisters apparently tease her and ridicule her for being so zealous and for having no personal life, so her mother superior basically tells her to go out into the world and find her ministry. Maybe kindly, maybe not. It sounds a bit like a forced pilgrimage.
An existential crisis disguised as a mission. A search for purpose outside the convent walls.
Precisely. And who does she meet on this journey? Professor Slaterbug. Initially, she tries to avoid him, calls him a whiny sort of fellow. Can't blame her.
No, but their paths keep crossing.
Seems so. Eventually, she begins begrudgingly offering him assistance. Sees his plight, maybe feels pity or duty, but she refuses to do things he should be able to do himself. Apparently, she loses her temper with him more than once.
Oh, I love that. The internal conflict. Duty and sympathy warring with utter frustration at his incompetence. Makes her really complex. Is helping Slaterbug her actual ministry? Or is it some kind of penance she feels she has to endure?
It's a great question. And how will her strict beliefs, her zealous nature, mesh with the rest of this very mixed group, especially when they hit moral gray areas?
She could be a moral compass.
Right.
or a source of major friction.
Exactly. Her unyielding nature could be a strength, or it could clash badly with the more flexible members. Her journey is about finding her place, and maybe she'll find it helping this whiny professor she started out trying to ditch. It really tests what ministry means for her.
So what a lineup. Bronwyn's vengeance quest, Prick's debts, Vera's search for belonging, Pudge's secret love and secret, Donduit's dark side, Slaterbug's reluctance, Hild's zealous search for purpose. How on earth do these people with all that baggage end up on the same mission for the Mirror of Dimension?
Well, that's where destiny, or maybe just messy circumstance, steps in. It all seems to converge in this town, Haibu. It becomes this accidental melting pot. Our sources show these different threads starting to tangle together there, sometimes by chance, sometimes out of sheer necessity.
Okay, so how does it start? Who meets whom first?
It starts in the woods, actually. Bronwyn, the ranger, finds Prick, Vera, and Pudge. They'd gotten lost trying to dodge some bandits. Way off track.
Classic, out of their element.
Totally. Bronwyn, being pragmatic, maybe sees an opportunity, offers to guide them back to the main road, and ends up escorting them all the way to High Butte. So that's the first little pod forming.
Okay, the lost performers and their paladin bodyguard, found by the Grim Ranger.
Got it.
What happens in High Butte?
Well, Prick and Vera do what they do best, perform. They start putting on shows at the Frothy Seas Inn to earn some coin. Prick's probably hoping to make a dent in those debts. Pudge, loyal as ever, gets odd jobs at the inn, works security, keeps an eye on Vera, and Bronwyn. She's casing the town, ranging around, looking for opportunities, information, anything that helps her main quest for cash and clues about the Dragonborn. Everyone's pursuing their own angle, initially.
So they're all in the same place, but not really together yet, just orbiting each other. Then Prick meets Donduit.
Yes, that's pivotal. Prick catches Donduit trying to lift his purse, but instead of trouble, Donduit talks his way out of it, offers a tip guide Prick to a secret gambling den.
Smart kid, and Prick goes for it.
Oh yeah, desperate for cash, and apparently he has moderate success there, for once. This whole encounter sparks this unlikely but natural friendship, the scoundrel and the urchin.
Meanwhile, Slaterbug and Hild arrive.
Right. They finally make it to High Butte after their own challenging journey. They're there specifically for MUNOA, the museum. They find their contact person easily enough. Their path is more structured, prearranged.
So High Butte acts like this giant funnel. Everyone washes up there needing something, money, safety, a job, answers.
Exactly. It's the crucible. And then Bronwyn becomes the catalyst to actually form the team. The sources say she convinces Vera, Prick, and Pudge to take the MUNOA job, pitches the sizable sum and the promised loot of adventure. Money talks, especially for Prick, and Bronwyn use it too.
And the others just sign on.
Yeah.
Slaterbug and Hild were already heading that way.
Pretty much. Prick, Vera, Pudge, Donduit, probably tagging along with Prick now, Professor Slaterbug, and Hild, they all end up signing the contract. Each see something in it for them.
Even if their ultimate goals are totally different.
Right. For Prick and Vera, it's cash and maybe a new audience. For Pudge, it's staying near Vera. Donduit, adventure with his new friend. Slaterbug, fulfilling his forced assignment. Hild, maybe this is her ministry, this quest. The mission objective is clear. Find and retrieve the Mirror of Dimensions. Whatever that thing is, it's now their shared focus. They're officially a party. Sort of.
Okay, they're together, they have a mission, and boom, the sources throw them right into the fire. This first challenge, it sounds like it really shows us who they are under pressure.
Oh, absolutely. The exhibition log gives us a play-by-play. They're led by this MUNOA guy, Archibald Frappy, to an inconspicuous cave. Looks ordinary, but Archibald himself, instantly unlikable, dissatisfied with the group's performance, belittling and raving. It's a nasty piece of work, really. Sets him up perfectly for
what happens next, which is
sudden and brutal. While Archibald's mid-rant, a massive brown bear appears from the cave, grabs him from behind, and drags him screaming into the darkness.
Yikes. Talk about an introduction to the dangers, and their guide is instantly gone. Sets a tone, doesn't it? The wilderness doesn't care about your job title.
Not at all, and the party's reaction, it's telling. Do they rush in heroically?
I'm guessing no.
You guessed correctly. The log says the party hems and haws over rescuing him. They hesitate, until Pudge remembers Archibald mentioned he was carrying their pay.
Money again. So it's not heroism, it's payroll recovery. Yeah, it's a fascinating detail about Pudge, the noble paladin.
Yeah.
Very pragmatic.
It really is. And the group's hesitation shows they aren't a tight unit yet. They're motivated by self-interest, or in Pudge's case, ensuring Vera gets paid. But the thought of losing their fee is enough to get them moving.
Okay, so motivated by money, they creep into the cave. What do they find? or hear?
They hear echoes of conflict and shrill shrieking, Grim sounds. Bronwyn, being the ranger, spots the bear first, gorging its muzzle into something, likely Archibald. She doesn't hesitate, takes a shot, hits it, the bear roars, charges, and they're all stuck on this narrow land bridge.
Perfect bottleneck for a fight. How does it go down? Who does what?
It's chaos, but revealing chaos. Pudge immediately steps up, blocks the bridge, total tank mode. Professor Slayerbug tries magic casts a grease patch.
Does it work? Please tell me it works.
Fairly. The bear slips a bit, but hardly slowed. Slayerbug's inexperience shows. It's almost comical, except for the giant angry bear. Vera, she cleverly disguises herself as a rock, avoids getting flattened. Very bardic, very evasive.
Smart move. So Pudge is holding it off, Bronwyn's shooting.
Yep, Pudge is fighting toe-to-toe. Bronwyn is peppering it with arrows. Vera recovers from being a rock and joins in, stabs at it with her rapier. Prick is yelling encouragements. Moral support, I guess.
Doing his best. And Donduit, the quiet one.
Donduit makes the kill, uses his agility, gets in close, dispatches it with a well-placed thrust. The bear finally topples over the small land bridge and into the water. Gone.
Wow. So it really was a team effort, even if messy. Everyone contributed something, except maybe Archibald.
Exactly. It's our first real shared victory forged in panic and necessity. They find Archibald's remains, retrieve their pay, and take his club of office as proof of his demise. A grim souvenir.
And then Vera and Bronwyn notice some things.
Right. Environmental details, these weird hop shrooms growing around, the fact the tide is coming in, and they see an island in the distance. Within the cave system, adds layers, potential paths, more danger.
So, bear defeated, paid up, new clues.
Oh.
Do they press on together now? Finally bonded.
If only it were that simple. This is where the group fractures almost immediately. The stress reveals the cracks. Vera, Professor Slayerbug, Pudge, and Hild, the cautious ones, decide to get out. Tide's coming in, not wanting to get stuck in a bad situation. They head for the exit.
Sensible.
On the way out, Hilda finds something important. A small, intricate golden knob, a dwarven key. She gives it to Pudge for safekeeping. A little moment of trust within that departing faction.
Okay, so half the party is leaving. What about the others? Prick.
Prick being Prick. Decides he wants a closer look at the dead bear. Jumps into the water where it fell. Gets caught by the current, swept away from the bridge.
Oh, for goodness sake, of course he does. Do they try to help him?
They do. Hild, Pudge, Donduit throw him a rope. But does he take it? Nope. He ignores it, swimming to the other side. Stubbornly independent, or just reckless.
And Bronwyn?
Bronwyn pulls off this incredible move, uses one of those hop shrooms to catapult herself to the other side to assist Prick, shows amazing skill and a surprising loyalty to the impulsive bard.
Wow, that's quite a visual. Meanwhile, the others.
The ones leaving Hild, Pudge, Donduit watch this whole display. The log says they march outside disgusted at the lack of communication. They join Vera and Slayerbug at the campfire outside.
Disgusted. Okay, so tensions are high, communication breakdown, half the party's outside frustrated, the other half is somewhere else in the cave, having just done something crazy. And Pudge has a secret dwarven key no one else knows about. Great start.
It's messy. Really highlights the splits. Prick's impulsiveness, Bronwyn's loyalty to him versus the other's frustration and pragmatism. The key adds another layer of potential conflict down the line.
So they're sitting around the campfire, probably fuming or bewildered. And
just as things maybe start to calm down a fraction, someone new arrives, completely unexpected, changes everything again.
Who is it this time?
Mika, a slight gnome, appears out of nowhere, also seeking the same treasure they are.
Another player? How does the already stressed out party react?
Initially. She gets rough treatment by Hild and being run down by Vera. They're defensive, tired, suspicious.
Understandable, but she talks her way in.
Eventually, yeah. She settles a bit and shares part of her story. It's a big one. Her brother's soul has been taken by a demon.
Whoa, okay, that changes things. Suddenly, she's not just an intruder. She has this incredibly high-stakes personal reason to be there. Adds a whole new level of urgency.
Exactly. Her slight appearance contrasts with this fierce determination. Her quest instantly connects to the potential power, maybe the danger of the mirror. It shifts the focus from their bickering to something much bigger.
And she's the one who figures out the next step. With the key.
Yes. She sees Pudge has the dwarven key Hilda found, gets super excited. We should get going. Then she consults this small book she carries, suggesting she has specific knowledge, and easily finds a hidden keyhole near where Archibald met his end. a keyhole the others totally missed.
Specialized knowledge wins again, so Mika knows what the key is for.
Seems like it. Pudge uses the key where she points, and magically, small platforms rise up out of the water, pillars the characters can jump across to the opposite side.
Wow. The cave transforms. It's not just natural, it's constructed, ancient, magical. A clear path forward appears.
It's a huge moment. Signals they're moving from just a dangerous cave into something else, something purpose-built.
And Vera, naturally, almost messes it up.
Haha, almost. Tries to use a hop shroom to jump across, nearly slams into the side of one of the pillars, needs help getting out of the water. Classic Vera. But they help her. They're slowly learning to support each other, even amidst the chaos.
So they all make it across the pillars. What's on the other side?
The payoff. An old fortress built within the cave structure. Ancient, imposing, flanked by two significantly aged statues, standing guard before a door made of perfectly smooth and sealed stone.
Gold. Right there.
Exactly. Mika rushes up, totally focused. It's gotta be here. Open the door, Pudge. You can feel her desperation.
Is there hesitation? Talk about the tide again.
There is some discussion about the tide, yeah. The environmental pressure is still there. But the fortress, the goal, it's too tempting. The log says everyone moves into the hold. The mystery pulls them in.
Okay, they're inside the ancient fortress, the place they think holds the mirror. What do they find? Loot. Lore. Both.
It's a mix, definitely. And again, who finds what is telling? Pudge, Hild, and Professor Slaterbug tackle the book piles, searching for knowledge, but with varying degrees of luck. Not everything yields secrets easily.
Makes sense. What about the less scholarly types?
Bronwyn, the ranger, finds gold stashed in the mouth of the bearskin rug. Practical wealth, cleverly hidden. Vera finds useful stuff. Potions, greater restoration and healing behind one of the chairs. Invaluable supplies. And Prick, he happily trots around the room singing out the findings of each member, being the bard, chronicling their success in his own way. It shows the different facets of adventuring rewards, gold, magic items, knowledge, even just the joy of finding things.
Okay, standard adventuring hall, but what about the mirror itself, the big prize? What did they learn?
This is where Slaterbug and Hild shine. Slaterbug, despite probably still complaining under his breath, finds a really peculiar book. Contains incantations and theories on how to properly channel the astral forces.
Astral forces. Okay, that sounds directly relevant to a mirror of dimensions. Hints at how it works, its power source.
Exactly. It grounds the magic, gives them theoretical understanding, which is Slaterbug's whole deal. And Mika, she's laser focused on the mirror itself, which they presumably find in this room. She looks longingly into the mirror, trying to determine how it works. Her personal stake is so high.
But Donduit is watching her.
Yes. Donduit keeps a close eye on Mika so that she cannot touch the mirror. Shows his caution, his street smarts. He senses the potential danger, maybe doesn't fully trust Mika's desperate intensity yet.
Good for Donduit. And Hilda finds something too.
She does. A journal written by someone named Artemungus Gretler. It details his understanding of the planes.
More planar knowledge. So Gretler studied this stuff before, maybe related to the mirror?
Very likely. It provides more context, suggests a history of research, maybe previous attempts to understand or use the mirror. These books, Slaterbug's on astral forces, Hilda's journal on the planes, they are the real intellectual treasure here. They start to unlock the meaning of the mirror, not just its location.
They found the how and the what, potentially. Huge discoveries. And after all that, searching, fighting, discovering, they rest.
Seems like it. The log notes, some of the party sit down and take a short rest. Professor Slaterbug III, Hildegard, and Vera. A necessary pause. Time to catch their breath. Maybe start processing what they found before whatever comes next.
Wow, what a start to an expedition. We've seen this incredibly diverse group come together, clash, face danger, split apart, get pulled back together by a new arrival, and finally penetrate this ancient fortress. They've gone from separate individuals with heavy personal baggage to, well, still individuals with baggage, but now they're a group that's faced death together and uncovered some truly profound clues.
It's a perfect microcosm of adventuring, isn't it? That complex mix of personal drives, shared goals, unexpected twists. And like you said, the real treasure so far isn't just the gold or the potions. It's watching these characters unfold, seeing their skills, their flaws, their true natures emerge under pressure. From Vera's repressed memories to Pudge's secret, from Prick's recklessness to Bronwyn's surprising loyalty, every step shapes them, binds them, however imperfectly. They're becoming a party, whether they like it or not.
Exactly. They're not just separate agents anymore. They survive together. And the clues they found, astral forces, the planes, Gretler's journal, point to something way bigger than just grabbing an artifact. This mirror sounds like it operates on a cosmic scale. So, thinking about all this, what stands out to you listening right now? How will these specific characters, with all their unique issues, the vengeance, the debt, the trauma, the secrets, the street smarts, the academic whining, the zealous faith, handle the next stage? What does it mean to channel astral forces? What are the real dangers, the hidden costs of messing with the planes themselves through this mirror? And what else will they discover about the mirror, and maybe more importantly, about themselves as they go deeper? It feels like the real adventure is only just starting.